So millions of us are using tools like ChatGPT every single day, right? But if you spent any real time with them, I bet you've noticed something a little strange.
It usually starts with this thought, right? ChatGPT sometimes just makes things up. And yeah, it sounds kind of harmless at first, but this thing it does, it's so common that it actually has a technical name. And believe me, it is a huge problem in the world of AI.
It's called hallucination. That's the term. It's when an AI spits out a perfectly fluent, super confident statement that is just completely wrong. And that's the real kicker, isn't it? These lies, they can quietly just destroy your trust in these tools that are, let's be honest, incredibly powerful.
So, this brings us to the big mystery we're going to unpack here. Why? Why does this even happen? How can something that feels so smart be so wrong and with such confidence? All right, to get to the bottom of this, we first have to peel back the curtain on what I'd call the illusion of understanding. The absolute key here is to get this one thing. What you're talking to, it's a master mimic. It's not a thinking mind.
And that brings us to maybe the single most important idea for getting your head around AI hallucinations, the stochastic parrot. Now, stochastic is just a fancy word for random or based on probability. The AI isn't thinking. It's literally just like a parrot, you know? It can mimic human language so well, but all it's doing is stringing words together based on what's most likely to come next, not what it actually means or understands.
And this right here, this is the heart of it all. An AI like this is a next token predictor. It's not a truth engine. Its one and only job is to look at a sentence and guess the most statistically likely next word or token. That's it. It wasn't built to check facts. It was built to finish patterns.
Okay, so keeping that parrot metaphor in our heads, let's dig into what these hallucinations actually look like. How can you spot these super confident lies?
So, researchers kind of break them down into two main flavors. First up, you've got intrinsic hallucinations. This is when the AI just straight up contradicts something you gave it. Like you paste in a press release and its summary includes a juicy quote that was never ever there. Then you've got extrinsic hallucinations, and these are a little sneakier. This is when the AI just adds stuff. It throws in new stats, names, or claims that you can't find in the original source, just to flush things out.
And it doesn't stop there. These mistakes can show up in all sorts of ways. You've got your basic factual errors, just flat out wrong. Attribution errors, right fact, wrong person. Then there's the infamous citation hallucination, where it literally invents a research paper or a URL that doesn't exist. And you can even get logical hallucinations, where it all sounds so smooth and convincing, but the conclusion just doesn't follow from the points it made.
Okay, so we know what they are, but the big question is why? Why do these models hallucinate in the first place? Let's get into the root causes.
You know, it really comes down to a handful of core problems. First, its main goal is just flawed. Remember, it's trying to predict the next word, not tell the truth. Second, its memory is full of holes. It's got wrong, incomplete, or super outdated info. Then you've got biased feedback, where we accidentally teach it to be a people pleaser instead of being correct. It also learns from us, which means it picks up on our myths and mistakes. And get this, there's a weird issue called lost in the middle, where it literally can't find facts if they're buried deep inside a long prompt you give it.
But I know what you're thinking. Hang on, we get these new, smarter AI models all the time. Surely this has been fixed by now, right? Well, it's a bit more complicated than that. And this is where things get really counterintuitive. Check this out. This chart shows hallucination rates on a specific test. And yeah, you're seeing that right. The newer model actually hallucinated more often. The big takeaway? Newer doesn't automatically mean better or safer. It really depends on what you're asking it to do.
Now, to be fair, the progress is still pretty amazing. On the other hand, the latest models are reportedly something like 45% less likely to spit out a factual error than the previous generation. And that is a huge leap forward in reliability.
But, and this is a big but, here's the reality check. That's awesome news for sure. But less likely does not mean never. It just doesn't. You've still got to have your guard up. You still have to be the one to double check those claims, numbers, and citations.
So what are we supposed to do about all this? Well, the good news is you're not helpless here. There are some really practical things you can do to, well, ground your AI and seriously cut down the risk of it making stuff up.
Okay, one of the most powerful tricks in the book is called chain of verification, or COVE for short. It's a really smart way to make the AI fact check itself. Here's how it works. First, you get it to draft an answer. Simple enough. Then, and this is the cool part, you tell it to come up with a list of questions to verify its own claims. Step 3, and this is crucial, you make it answer those questions using only the sources you provided. And finally, you have it rewrite the final answer using only the stuff it just verified. It's like building a mini fact checker right into your prompt. So clever.
And here are a few more quickfire techniques you can use. Be really explicit. Tell the AI to only use the documents you give it. Don't let it go off script. Demand citations. Make it back up every single claim it makes. And this is a big one. Give it an out. Give it permission to say, I don't know if the info isn't in what you gave it. And finally, to beat that lost in the middle problem, just put your most important facts right at the very top of the prompt. Simple as that.
So at the end of the day, here's what it all comes down to. AI is an unbelievably powerful assistant, but it is not an oracle. It's a machine that produces beautiful, fluent language without any concept of what's true. And that leaves us with one last really critical question for you. How are you going to separate that fluency from the actual facts?